So maybe you work from home, but you feel frustrated because you don't have the right setting, the right environment, or maybe you're thinking about transitioning to a work from home situation, whether it's for your own business or as an employee working from home. Whatever the case, if you want to work from home, in this video, I want to give you my experience of both working from home as an employee, but also I've transitioned over the last 2 months of working from home as a business owner after I left my 9-to-5 job. There are principles of how to make working from home effective no matter what the context, no matter what the reason is that you're working from home. There are things that you can do that make it less frustrating and make you more productive. If that sounds good, be sure to stick around. My name's Lane. This is my channel. It's so awesome to have you joining me today. I talk about online business, personal development, and self-publishing. I love helping entrepreneurs make online businesses and build platforms where they can share their message and make a profit from it, but also help a lot of people in the process. So if that appeals to you, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like. It really helps the YouTube algorithmic gods shine favorably upon me and share this video with more people. So if you wouldn't mind, just tap that like button. It'd mean a lot to me. So I first want to talk about the challenges that come with working from home, and there are several. The first challenge is that you can be distracted. You can definitely be distracted at the office, no doubt about that. But there's a different dynamic when you're home, because when you're home, you have all of the amenities of the comfort of your home right at your fingertips. You have your bed, you have all of your media, you have your TV, you have your kitchen and your fridge, you have your front yard, your backyard. You have all the home projects that are kind of around you that you could dive into at any point. You have your car, which could be washed. You have your mail, which needs to be checked. You have the FedEx guy that comes every day, if you're like me, to drop off more Amazon packages, woohoo, right? But you have all of these things that want to distract from your productivity in a way that you may not have if you were at work. The other challenge that comes with working from home is how do you achieve work-life balance? Like, how do you separate your work from your life when all of it happens under the same roof? How do you make sure that you can turn your work on when it needs to be on and turn your work off when it needs to be off? Another challenge related to working from home, especially if you're doing it as an entrepreneur where you are your own boss, which is the situation that I now have, is the lack of people respecting what you do as a real job that has real time requirements. So what this plays out with is if you're not married, if you have friends, then you might have friends that say, oh, well, you just work at home. You're not doing anything, or you're the boss. You can come hang out with us, or you can come do this thing with us. And you have to say, no, this is a job. I might be the boss, which is awesome, but as the boss, I've told myself that I need to do this, right? So that can create conflict. Or maybe in your marriage, maybe your spouse wants you to constantly be flexible with your time in a way that damages your productivity. Now, when you're working from home, you can be more flexible with your schedule. That's one of the main benefits of it. But this can be a major challenge if your time is not respected by you or by your roommates or friends or your spouse or your kids or whatever. So you have to really understand that going into this, there's going to be that challenge. The final challenge before I get into some solutions is that sometimes when you're working from home, you can adopt a sort of working whenever, wherever kind of mindset, where you don't really have a set schedule. You just kind of work a little bit here, work a little bit there. Maybe you check email while you're watching Netflix at night, or maybe you wake up and you do some work, or you sleep in and then you work late at night, or you don't work this day, but you do work that day. And what can happen is you don't really know if you've put in a decent week or a decent day. You don't know if you're moving things forward because your work schedule is so sporadic and it's not attached to anything objective, and that can cause a lot of frustration, especially when you feel like you're not performing at the level that you really want to. So even with those challenges, I really think that working from home is one of the best things that's ever happened to me, at least so far. I truly, truly love it. There's so many things about it that I just absolutely love. And I think that the reason why it's been good for me is that one by one, I've been able to tackle these challenges. And fortunately, because of videos like this, I was able to know that some of these things were coming, and I was able to work ahead of time to plan to have the best situation possible to set myself up for success. So that's what I want to do for you. I want to give you a few things to think about if you're going to work from home, how you make it optimal for you. The first thing is have a dedicated space. You want to have a place in your home where you work. I know that this can be challenging if you live in a small apartment, if you live in a one-bedroom studio, if you live with roommates and you don't have access to anywhere in the house except for your bedroom. That's the only thing that's not common space. I lived like that. I used to live in Washington, D.C. area. I lived with 6 or 7 people in a townhome. When in my 20s, I totally know that way of living, so I can empathize. But if you're gonna be an at-home entrepreneur, if you're gonna work from home, you have to manage around these obstacles. So maybe you pay a little extra for a second bedroom that you can make your office. Or maybe you just make sure that wherever you live, you have at least your own room where you can set up a desk and have an area that is where you work that's separate from kind of where you sleep and where you live. That's one way of doing it. If you have a home, there might be space that you are not currently utilizing. What about your garage? Could you cut out a section of it, figure out a way to climate control it? Could you add a shed to the backyard that you can outfit as an office? Could you take a part of your bedroom that you never use and put a desk and make sure that that's your workspace? But the point is, you want to have a dedicated space where you work every single day, and that's all you do in that space, mostly, okay? And it's not that you have to be rigid where you can't work anywhere else. It's just that in your home, you have a space that is your workspace. That's really important. For me, I have this room, which is in my basement, and it's one of the bedrooms in our house that I just converted into my office slash YouTube studio slash course creation headquarters slash world domination headquarters. And this is where I do all of my work. And everything is specifically optimized to make sure that when I come in this room, I can be productive very quickly. I have my desk set up exactly how I like it with an external monitor. I have my laptop on a stand. I've got my mic ready to go, the webcam ready to go. I have a whiteboard in here that I can make lists on. I have backdrops that I can record in front of. I have my lights, my camera, action, all that stuff ready to go. And the best part about this whole place is I have a window. I didn't have a window in my last office, and now I have a window, and I am solar powered. So when I have the sun coming through, it really, really helps me to be productive. So this has been huge for me. I want the same for you. So really think about the space that you're using. The next thing is you really want to set a schedule. Like I talked about in the challenges, is that if you have a kind of work whenever or wherever kind of situation, you're going to be all over the place in terms of your work, and your productivity, I believe, is going to suffer. And so you want to make sure that you have a schedule and you communicate that schedule to the people in your life. You communicate it to your spouse if you have one. You communicate it to your roommates if you have them. You communicate it to your friends and everybody. You let them know, hey, I'm working from home. I have my own business, but these are my hours where I am working. And so for me, this is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Those are the hours that I work, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Now, this is longer. I work more hours than a standard 9 to 5 job, and I do that on purpose. I do that because I'm trying to get ahead on a lot of the things in my business. I'm trying to generate as much revenue as quickly as possible. I'm trying to serve as many clients as I can. And so for me, I get up around 5:15, I go to the gym, I work out, I come home, get breakfast ready, all that kind of stuff, and then I'm down here by 7 o'clock, and then I work till 5. What that does is it allows me to know that from 7 to 5, Monday through Friday, I'm working. I'm doing productive things to move the business forward. When 5 o'clock comes, I head back upstairs and I can re-engage with my family. I can be present in the moment, and I do not think about work. If I can't get it done in 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, then I'm really not that efficient, okay? That's the schedule that I have. So you may have a different one. When I first started out, I wasn't doing 7 to 5, I was actually doing 8 to 4. And what I realized is that I actually wanted to start a little bit earlier because I'm better in the morning. And then I wanted to go a little bit later because I wanted to be able to tie up loose ends at the end of the day. Talked to my wife, she's totally good with it, so that's what we're doing now. The great thing is, I'm the boss, so I can change my hours whenever I want, as long as it works with my family and all that kind of stuff. So figure out what it is for you, but have a set schedule. If you want to take 3 days off during the week instead of 2 and work Monday through Thursday, you can do that. The point is, it's your schedule and you stick to it. The next thing is communicate boundaries. I talked about this earlier when I talked about people not respecting your time. And this is an important thing to understand. People will respect the boundaries that you set, and they will plow right through the boundaries that you don't set. A really good book to read is called Boundaries by Henry Cloud and some other guy. And it's really a great book about how to set up reasonable, proper boundaries in your life. And this is really important when you work from home, because like I said, people think that because you're not getting up and moving to another place and sitting down at a desk, that there's not that barrier where when they call you, they're calling you at work, or when they're texting you at work. Because you're at home, it doesn't feel like you're at work. So you have to clearly identify, I've set my hours, I have this dedicated space. When I'm in that space during these hours, here are my boundaries. Only contact me under these circumstances. When I'm focused, I want to be focused. One of the beauties of working from home is that you don't constantly have that, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Hey, you have a minute? Hey, can I just come in for 1 second? I hated that when I worked in an office, because I would be focused on something and then, I'm getting into it, I'm focusing. Maybe it's hard work that requires a lot of my attention, and then, hey man, can I talk for a second? And it doesn't matter if it's just a second. Breaking away from that attention to engage with somebody, answer their question, deal with their problem, entertain their idea, and then they leave, to get back into focus takes a lot of mental space and energy that you've lost. All that productivity is just gone. So the benefit of working from home is you can actually control for some of those things a lot easier than you can in an office. Now, if you have kids, I have 4 kids, they're running all over the house. That's why I'm in the basement. One of our boundaries that we have is that at the stairs to the basement, we actually have a little baby gate up, and they know that when that's shut and daddy's downstairs, they don't come downstairs. Now, when I take breaks during the day, one of the beauties of working from home, when I take breaks, kind of stretch, I go upstairs. I say hi to everybody. And I do tickle fights and throw them up in the air and do all the stuff. And then I come back down to work. And so they still get to see me during the day, but it's not interrupting my focus and my flow. This is what I've had to do to make working from home work for me. And so I would just encourage you, think about what are your boundaries and who needs to know them, and then communicate those boundaries. And if you have clients, let them know when you're going to be responsive. And if you're not, just let them know, hey, I'm going to be off for a couple of days. I won't be as responsive during this time. Let them know, let everybody know, so that you can focus. Because at the end of the day, your productivity and your energy, your output, is what's really going to move your business forward. And if you don't have that, then you're really going to suffer all the way around. Okay, finally, number 4. This is very similar to our last one, but this has to do with you and your mindset and your behavior, and that is turn it off. You have to know when to turn your work on, and you have to know when to turn it off. In a lot of ways, this is about having a boundary with yourself. If you're going to work from home, it is so easy to get sucked right into going back to that email, sucked right into your mobile device, sucked right into thinking about and planning what you're going to do next. You have to learn how to turn it off so that you have a life. Because if all you do is work, then why did you get into this in the first place, especially if you're an entrepreneur? Why did you jump into working from home? Why did you jump into entrepreneurship if it's going to take over your life, right? It doesn't have to. If you're being productive during the time of day that you're working, you shouldn't have to work 24/7. This is a myth. It's the hustle myth. It's not a real thing. It's popular to work until your eyes bleed, hustle every day, all this stuff. I get it. That's attractive. It makes us feel good. It's not productive. You're going to burn out. You're not going to have as much energy. You're not going to bring as much of yourself to the table. So you have to turn it off. So a couple of ways that you can do this is when you leave your dedicated space, shut everything up and walk away from it. And then the other thing is when an idea comes to mind, because if you're a business owner, ideas are constantly coming in your mind because it's your baby. You're thinking about it a lot. Simply have a way to write those ideas down. For me, I use the Notes app on my phone. It's just super simple. It's always right there. I have an ideas notes and I write it down, and that's it, so I can forget about it. Sometimes if I don't do that, I might email it to myself, or I might even text it to myself, depending on what I'm feeling that in that moment. Or I might record a voice memo of myself describing it if it takes a lot to kind of describe. The point is, get it out of your head and get it on paper and recorded so that you can move on with your night, you can move on with your weekend, and you can revisit that idea at a later time. So the point isn't to just completely shut it off where you just, no, I reject any thought that comes in about my business. That's not the idea. The idea is you need a mental break from the day-to-day grind so that when you come back the next day, when you come back on Monday from a weekend, you're bringing your whole self to your business and not just the leftovers and the drained kind of, your adrenal glands are all jacked up and you're just barely there, but you're there. That doesn't work. You want to be fully there, and the way that you be fully there is you manage your energy, and you manage your energy by making sure that you can turn it off when you need to. And that really is a boundary with yourself, which is hard to do. So I'm here to encourage you every step of the way. I'm so excited for you and your journey. I want to put something in your hands that will help with all this. If you go to lanesebring.com/super-simple, you can pick up my free super simple guide to your first $500 online. I walk you through how I went from just an idea to a profitable business that has allowed me to leave my 9-to-5 and work from home full time. I'd love to show you how to do that in this guide, lanesebring.com/super-simple. Be sure to leave me a comment. Do you work from home? What are your hacks? What are your productivity hacks? How do you make sure that you are productive all throughout the day? How do you set boundaries? I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because the next video that I'm doing is about my first hire. When I hired somebody to work for me as a virtual assistant, I don't want you to miss that video. And so if you're subscribed and you've hit the notification bell, you won't miss that video, and I will see you in that one.